My fiancé gave spare keys to his friends without telling me, so when I came home early and found a woman living in my house, I forced a reckoning on trust. I, a female, 30, have been living with my fiancé, Harry, a male, 32, for the last 3 years. The house is in my name, as I make more than Harry, and we decided it would be smart to just have my name on the mortgage. However, I am not controlling and do not consider it to be just my space. I love this man and know that I want to spend my life with him, so I have always taken his input on home layout, furniture models, you name it. Besides, he contributes to utility payments and does a big chunk of chores too. However, I only have one ground rule. I am not comfortable with people spending the night here while I am gone. It is just a pet peeve of mine to come home and see stuff moved around, or something accidentally broken, or groceries used up. Honestly, this has never even been much of an issue between me and my fiancé, as I am usually home and only ever leave for business trips once or twice a month. He often calls his friends over to crash when I am here, or we have parties where a mix of people are there, and some inevitably stay over. However, here is where things get a bit out of hand for me. Last month, I was supposed to be in Australia for 2 weeks for a conference, but it got cancelled due to logistical and licensing issues. Of course, I could have just spent time in Australia, but I was missing home and wanted to get back to Harry, so I decided that I would surprise him and show up at the house unannounced. I got back to Los Angeles International Airport and got home and excitedly opened the front door. I had come back on a red-eye flight and I knew Harry would be sleeping. I wanted to go to the kitchen and make some breakfast to wake him up, but to my surprise, when I went into the room, I saw one of Harry's friends from college, Linda, already there. My mind immediately went to the worst-case scenario, and I thought that he had been cheating on me. But Linda's reaction made me second-guess that thought. She looked at me over a cup of coffee and smiled. "Oh, you are back early. I usually never get a chance to meet you when I stop by, but this is a change. Or how was the conference?" I was so dumbstruck. I replied with, "It got cancelled," until I shook my head and asked, "Never mind that, what the heck are you doing here?" That is when I got the shock of my life. Linda replied, I have been here loads of times. Harry said it was okay, and I even have an extra set of keys. Hell, it is not just me, I think Carl has a set too. I mean, if you know why, it should be okay, right? He told us that you were cool with it and often let us stay. I now realize that every time I was gone, Harry was turning this place into a pad where his buddies could crash, and my fuzzy sentiment of waking up my fiancé with breakfast was gone. The first thing I did was explain to Linda that I had never signed off on this and she needed to leave while I had it out with him. She was not even the problem and seemed super apologetic and embarrassed once she realized that Harry had not told her the full story. After she left, I stormed upstairs and opened the bedroom door to wake up my fiancé. Waking up from his drowsiness, Harry's eyes immediately widened when he saw me, and the first thing he said was, "Babe, I can explain." I was really angry at this point, and I told him I do not care what excuse or explanation you give, you broke a ground rule here. I have kicked your friend out, and he immediately cut me off. "You kicked Linda out, babe, please listen. I need to call her back here. Did she, tell you why she was here?" I was still feeling angry and insecure, and although I knew it was not true, I still said something mean by blurting out, "How would I know? You never told me, Harry. For all I know, she was here to sleep with you." I could tell that this hurt him a lot, and he kind of clammed up and decided I could not be reasoned with. After that, he silently packed his bags and said that he would go stay with his friends for a little while, and we will speak when things have cooled off. All of that happened this morning, and as I sit alone, I kind of wondered, did I overreact? My biggest problem with people coming over when I am not here is that they disrupt my space, but I have not even noticed anything off, even though this has happened multiple times before. I do not know the full extent of how many people have spare keys either, but it is still a clear rule that I put down which he chose to ignore, and it is still a security issue. I do not think I would have had a huge issue if he had spoken to me about this first, so honestly, that was quite immature of him, but I will talk to Harry when I am a little less angry. But how should I go about it? What the heck, by the way, if this is the hill I die on? Update 1. Harry texted and apologized for leaving so abruptly and said that I would probably understand better if he could speak to me in person, and I agreed. He came over yesterday, we had dinner together and then sat down to talk. He said, "I understand that you are angry that I broke your rules and that is valid. However, I just wanted you to understand why I made that decision, and although that might not fix things, I hope you can understand where I am coming from." So I found out a few things through Harry's explanation. Firstly, everyone who has been given the keys is kind of going through a rough spot in their lives. To be more precise, Linda has a really bad relationship with her husband right now. and sometimes he gets drunk, and that scares her by being loud and aggressive. She could go to her other friend's place, but that is 2 hours away, and she does not have her car. Harry had given her the keys as a way to find safe refuge in moments when she felt unsafe at her own home. If I was at home and something went down, she would go to the other friend's place, and whenever I was busy, she would come here if it was needed. I think once she realized that I did not know anything about her relationship, she felt too embarrassed to explain and just left without conflict. That was also why Harry was angry that I had kicked her out immediately. I felt bad and immediately empathized with Linda. One of my past relationships was very abusive and super tough to get out of. Now that I knew, I was going to try and help her escape the situation. As for Carl, there was also something going on. Carl was Harry's neighbor growing up, and they are best friends. I knew that and had even met him at parties. Carl's housing situation was terrible. He lived in a rent-controlled flat, but his utilities and maintenance were barely kept up to code, and whenever he could find the time, he would come here. Another reason for this was that the town hall and court are quite close to our house, and Carl often goes there looking for job opportunities or trying to get something done about his flat. So, at the end of Harry's explanation, I was less mad. Initially, I thought that he was just screwing around in the house, but it seems that he was doing everything out of the goodness of his heart. I still think that he could have told me, though, and when I asked him, "Babe, why did you not tell me any of this?" he told me that he felt insecure about having to ask. I realize now that somehow, some way, I have goofed up in sharing the space equally with my partner. Harry told me that his family and some of his coworkers made fun of him for not owning the house and making less than me, and that created a mental block in his head. We have made up about the conflict, and I guess we will see how to move forward in the next few days. Update 2, I have decided to change the way we do things at home, and I hope this will help my fiancé feel more comfortable. I told him that it was completely fine to call people over if I am not over, as long as he tells me and keeps me in the loop. However, I did ask him to take back the spare keys, since I find it a little unnecessary, as he is usually here when I am not. He agreed to this, but we reached a little bit of a battleground when it came to apologizing. I think he should call Linda and Carl and tell them that he did not have any consent to invite them over, and also update them on the situation. I know Linda knows already, but it would be best to hear it from Harry too, and we can move forward. He feels like this is a little overkill and just makes him look bad. However, I feel like it is the best way to move forward. I think it can be resolved with a bit more communication, and everything else is going smoothly. Harry is living with me again, and I even reached out to Linda and recommended a great divorce lawyer to her. I opened up to her about my past, and we bonded quite a bit. Initially, she was embarrassed about taking up space, but I told her she is welcome to come by any time now. Update 3, okay. So Harry did call Linda and apologize, and he called Carl and filled him in. Carl laughed at the whole situation and told him that he got off lucky, much to Harry's amusement as well. Linda and I are quite close now, and I think that this experience has just made me realize that Harry deserves to know that he is equal in this setup. On his part, he has realized that he should have probably been a little more proactive with reaching out to me if he felt like a rule I had set needed to be changed, and he has promised to keep that in mind from now on. For everyone who said this was a red flag, I would have to disagree. I know my man, and he did this out of the love he has for his friends. It is one of the reasons I love him. Not the asshole. I get why you acted aggressively, to be honest. I would too. But Harry probably had to deal with a lot of teasing and backhanded comments to be pushed to such a point. I think giving out the keys was his way of staking some kind of autonomy in your shared space. Not the asshole. I think that Harry needs to be a little less finicky about talking to you. I mean, this whole issue seems avoidable, and even if you do not want to admit it, girl, he did create a whole lie against you and his friends, and I suggest you work out these kinks before your fiancé becomes your husband. Next story. I have 3 children. Amy, a female, 23, Ben, a male, 16, and Zoe, a female, 11. Amy recently moved back in because our house is closer to her new job, and she also wanted to be closer to us. Amy brought her dog, Max, with her. Max is about 5 years old and a medium-sized spaniel mix for reference. I explained to Amy beforehand that I really did not want pets because we do not have time for them, especially a dog, but Amy insisted that she would handle everything related to Max, so I allowed her to move in with Max. This dog has been disrupting our entire household since Amy brought it into the house. Max pisses or shits in the house at least every other day. I have caught Amy pretending not to notice the piss and trying to wait until someone else cleans it up. Whenever I text Amy that Max pissed in the house, she just texts back, laughing my ass off, and acts as if it is funny. In the middle of the night, usually 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., and sometimes in the early morning, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., Max will bark in the hallway outside our bedrooms non-stop until somebody opens their door. Amy would give him treats or play with him whenever he did this, so he still tries it. We have tried moving Max into a crate at night, but he barks non-stop until he is let out, even with a towel covering the crate. Earbuds also do not work. It is affecting all our sleep schedules, especially Zoe because she has insomnia and struggles to fall back asleep, even with melatonin. She is not getting enough sleep because of Max, and even her teacher reached out to me because it is affecting her focus in class. I have tried explaining this to Amy, and all she will say is, "Classic Max, always wants a snack to play." Amy usually sleeps over at her boyfriend's house. She rarely experiences this and treats Max's behavior as if it is funny. The last straw is Max's newest behavior of barreling into people so that they fall down, drop their plates, and then Max can eat the food. Amy saw this firsthand and watched Zoe get hurt because of Max. Amy was playful with Max and again treated it as if it was funny. I told Amy that we needed to talk now. I sat down with Amy in a different room and told her that we cannot deal with her dog's behavior anymore and that she needs to either rehome Max in the next few weeks or move out with him. Amy and Max are currently staying with Amy's boyfriend now. Amy's aunt, grandmother, and 3 of her friends have reached out to tell me I was wrong in this situation. They pointed out that Amy has been a great house guest, aside from the issues relating to Max, and Amy has had Max since he was a puppy, and it would be unimaginable for her to just give him away. They are saying it is my own fault because I am not willing to train Max more thoroughly to help correct these issues, but that is exactly why I warned Amy in the first place against moving Max in, because I do not have the time to train him. Plus, I do not see how it is reasonable to make the whole house suffer because Amy refuses to correct Max's behavior herself. Am I the asshole? Nothing wrong with shaming Amy, a grown-up, for having an untrained dog when there are many, many training options pretty much wherever you are in the United States at least. She is not a tween that you mistakenly thought was ready for the responsibility of a pet, and you got her one. She got a dog, did not train it, and is inflicting the consequences on your family. Not the asshole. Why should OP be responsible for training her daughter's dog, especially when her daughter assured her she would handle everything related to the dog? Of course, OP, not the asshole, stand your ground. Your granddaughter should be ashamed. She is an awful dog owner. Not the asshole, Amy is an incredibly negligent dog owner. I feel so sorry for Max. He is clearly not getting the exercise or the discipline or training he so badly needs, but that is your daughter's responsibility, not yours. Next story. So basically, there is this guy and he smells of sweat really bad. It gets worse from Monday through Friday because the smell intensifies, and on Wednesday it is already so bad I want to puke and it makes my head hurt. Now, he has been told by people about it. He did not believe anyone telling him that one time. He brought his t-shirt to another coworker and asked her if she can smell anything because he cannot. That is ridiculous, but whatever. He has been told many, many, many times. And usually, when he is told he smells really bad, a week after, you cannot smell him because he might be putting effort into showering, but it does not last long. And at this point, my manager said she does not want to make him feel bad enough so he would not leave since we are short on people. And I am really sorry for him. He is probably super depressed and cannot even shower, which happens. He is a good guy, always friendly and never mean or anything. But holy heck, I cannot suffer it. Imagine coming to work all happy and ready to start a day and then you are hit with this terrible stench. It always ruins my day instantly. So anyway, whenever he works closer to me, I literally just spray perfume towards him. I do not even try to be subtle about it anymore because I really cannot take much of it, and I was told by another coworker I am being an asshole about it. I do not see it really, but maybe I am. Edit, I want to clarify that I do not spray anything on him, but more towards his side, or for example, he can be 5 meters away and I just spray it in the air but towards where he is. Edit 2. Everyone in my workplace uses some kind of spray just because of him. No one is bothered by it, and no one ever complained about that, but people are doing it more subtly whenever he is not watching. I did the same for a long time, but at this point I am just done caring about how he feels. I do it whenever I cannot bear it anymore. Just spray the air towards him. Edit 3. Thanks for everyone taking their time to say something. I took some advice and I ordered some things to help me more than what I was doing before. To all the people trying to insult me, I think you could find a better way to spend your time than that. To all the people that have been helpful, thank you. I learned it is really not nice of me, and I will be more open about how I feel and pressure human resources to do something about it, or I will change my job anyway. Thanks, everyone. Everyone sucks here. You should not be spraying perfume at him. I mean, just no. He obviously has some hygiene and likely some mental health issues which he needs to address. Dude needs help, not a spray or perfume. Most of all, though, your boss is an asshole for letting this go on and for not addressing it head-on with him. The ostrich management style is bad for everyone. Everyone sucks here. He should shower. Management or human resources should do something about it, but you are definitely the biggest asshole. Personally, I hate the smell of perfume. It makes me feel ill, way worse than body odor does. You have decided that the rest of the office has to smell your stuff too, and does not stop body odor, so now people are just smelling flowery body odor, which is worse. If you cannot stand the smell, put vapor rub or peppermint oil or something under your nose when he walks by. Do not take it upon yourself to stink up the room more. Everyone sucks here. Spraying perfume in a public place is an asshole move, even if you are not doing it directly at another person. At best, it is similar to listening to music on a speaker in public, basically forcing what should be a person's choice onto everyone else's senses. At worst, perfume is a very common migraine, asthma, or allergy trigger that can cause people active pain. He is obviously also an asshole, allowing his smell to become disruptive, and it sucks that other remedies have not worked. But do not assume your smell is not disruptive just because yours is perfume rather than body odor. When I walked through the door that morning, my heart was full of excitement and love. I'd rushed back from what was supposed to be a 2-week trip to Australia, cutting it short just to surprise Harry, the man I planned to marry. I imagined slipping into the kitchen, making his favorite breakfast, and waking him with a kiss. But the moment I saw Linda, his old college friend, casually sipping coffee in my kitchen, everything shattered. Shock hit me first, then a wave of betrayal so intense it made my stomach churn. She greeted me like it was normal, saying she'd been there loads of times and even had a spare key. Harry had given keys to his friends without ever telling me. In that instant, my mind spiraled to the darkest place. Was he cheating? The house was in my name, bought with my earnings, but I'd always treated it Acer's. I'd welcomed his input on every decision, shared chores, built a life together. Yet he'd gone behind my back, breaking the one clear boundary I'd set: no overnight guests when I'm away. It wasn't about control, it was about trust, security, and coming home to a space that felt safe and familiar. I asked Linda to leave, my voice shaking with anger and hurt. Then I confronted Harry. He woke up startled, pleading to explain, but I was too raw. Insecurity boiled over, and I accused him of something awful: sleeping with her. I regret those words now. They were born from fear, not truth. He looked devastated, packed a bag, and left quietly, saying we'd talk when things cooled down. As the door closed behind him, I sat alone in the silence, questioning everything. Had I overreacted? The house hadn't felt disrupted before, but the lie, the secret keys, the deception, cut deep. It felt like a violation of the foundation we'd built. The days apart were agonizing. I missed him terribly, but the anger lingered. Trust, once cracked, doesn't mend easily. When he texted to apologize and asked to talk in person, I agreed, though my heart raced with uncertainty. Over dinner, he opened up. He admitted breaking my rule was wrong, but explained why he'd done it. Linda was escaping an abusive husband, drunk outbursts that terrified her. Our home was her safe haven when I was away, closer than her other options. Carl, his lifelong friend, was struggling with a rundown apartment and needed a quiet place near town services. Harry hadn't turned our house into a party pad. He'd quietly become a lifeline for people in crisis, out of pure kindness. Hearing this, my anger melted into empathy and guilt. I'd been in an abusive relationship years ago, trapped and scared. If someone had offered me a key to safety back then, it might have changed everything. I felt horrible for kicking Linda out so abruptly, without knowing her pain. But the deepest ache came when Harry confessed why he hadn't told me: insecurity. Because the house was in my name, because I earned more, he'd faced teasing from family and coworkers. Asking permission felt like admitting he had less say in his own home. It broke my heart. I'd never meant to make him feel lesser. I thought we were equals. Yet somehow societal nonsense and subtle dynamics had eroded his confidence. This revelation forced me to reflect on my own role. Love isn't just affection. It's making your partner feel truly valued, secure, and empowered. I'd failed him there, unintentionally reinforcing imbalances. We talked for hours, tears flowing. I apologized for my harsh words, for not creating space where he felt safe to ask. He apologized for the secrecy, promising better communication. We made up, but more importantly, we grew. In the weeks since, we've reshaped our home life. I told him it's fine for friends to visit when I'm away, as long as he loops me in. We reclaimed the spare keys for security, but opened our door wider with consent. Harry called Linda and Carl to own his mistake, and I reached out to Linda personally. Sharing my past abuse with her bonded us. I connected her with a great divorce lawyer, and now she's a friend I welcome anytime. This ordeal was painful, betrayal, doubt, separation, but it ultimately strengthened us. It reminded me why I love Harry, his huge heart, his loyalty to friends in need. That goodness is part of what makes him the man I want forever. It also taught me to be more intentional about equality in our partnership, erasing any shadows of imbalance before marriage. Looking back, I'm grateful for the reckoning. Trust was tested, but rebuilt stronger. We've both learned, secrets breed hurt, but honest vulnerability heals. Our home feels more truly shared now, filled not just with love, but with deeper understanding and compassion.